Okay, hold on. Do I want my hairband or not?
It's cute.
Yeah, I'll leave it. Thanks.
Stars.
To add an accessory on. Right, I got a bit overexcited for my tea earlier and it's gone everywhere. Hi, Steph. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. It's lovely to chat to you finally because I know we've spoken loads in the past. It feels like I've met you already. So this doesn't really feel that brand new to me.
No.
So have you got
friends?
Yes, absolutely. Have you got your brew with you? Very important.
I have indeed.
Oh, so okay. What is your favourite brew, or what is this then? What is your favourite?
I always get iced vanilla latte. It's a thing that I started when I was an NQT. It was at a Friday celebration. And I was like, well, I'm celebrating now. It's some holidays, so I might as well get one again.
Love that. So it's like got some positive connotations for you.
Yeah.
Love that. Yeah, mine's just a boring old builder's tea. I'm not going to lie. It's not very exciting, but...
Sugar or no sugar?
No sugar. Very bland. In fact, I can just have like even no milk. Black tea is fine with me, which people find pretty shocking.
Wow.
Right, so we're here to talk about reading interventions in Key Stage 2, which I know is something that a lot of people wonder about and struggle with. So I firstly wanted to ask you, what do you think most teachers commonly get wrong when it comes to planning and organising reading interventions?
I think like expecting too much too quickly it's not always like maths where you can just learn how to do something. I think with reading, it's definitely a longer term thing. You need to structure it so that like children get an opportunity to try a few times. Because I've definitely been guilty of like, right, well, by the end of this, they need to know how to do this skill. And that's not how that works with reading, because it's all encompassing. It's not just like, tick, they've done that. No, they have to be able to do it. And it takes them a while to do that.
Okay, and so how in your school, how would you work out which children actually need a reading intervention? Because obviously there's this big focus on quality first teaching and not getting children out of timetable all the time. So how do you work out which children actually do need that extra bit of support?
So for us as a school, we use their assessments as a bit of a guide, but also teacher assessment is like vital. Because we all know that kids can do really, really well in a paper, but actually that's not a true representation, and the other way around. So it's a mix of knowing the children in the classroom, in their whole class reading lessons, in generally across the curriculum, like if they're reading from the board. A lot of it stems from like all of the brilliant work that the Key Stage 1 and early years team do as well. So if they get to the end of year 2 and they're still not good with the phonics, there straight away you've got a group of children who might need a little bit of extra phonics.
Yeah.
They might need phonics integrated with a bit of comprehension. By the time they get up to me in year 6, it is based on, right, okay, what have I been fed from the year 5 teacher? What are their assessments telling us? How are they in the classroom? And it's just very much getting to know your children quite quickly. And that's why I think transition conversations from like one class to the next is so, so vital. Like I already know a group of children who straight away will get a reading intervention based on what the year 5 team have told us. And I think that really helps.
Because I know some people, and I understand why, they quite like the idea of let children start from a blank slate. So we might have basic information passed over from teacher to teacher, but, you know, the teacher should kind of find out where they are. So I'm guessing you spent like a lot of time talking to previous teachers and diving into every little bit. Yeah. Would you expect to see fewer children on a reading intervention as they move up the school?
Yes, I think so. I think depending on what the focus of the intervention is, that can vary massively. Like we all know fluency is massive, massive, massive part of it. But as you get older, like inference skills, we know in year 6 paper that is massive. Vocab, and we've got a high percentage of children who are EL. So it might be a case of actually they get to year 5 and they get to year 6 where that vocabulary just steps up a notch, and they might need a bit of really, really specialized vocabulary, just intervention. But if we're going on phonics and fluency, yes, hopefully the link, the correlation between like how fluently they are and how well they comprehend. As they get older, that should improve.
Yeah.
There's obviously lots of other links to, like, reading for pleasure. Are they reading for pleasure? Are they read to? Which I think is one of the most important things in a classroom.
Yeah.
And you can get so much intervention just from reading to your class. But yeah, we know that there's a dip for 6 weeks where children probably aren't reading. That is the reality of it. So using the class teacher before's knowledge, and you might start an intervention and you've got 1 or 2 children who just don't need it.
Yeah.
And actually that's fine. Once you feel, and once the team around you feel a child doesn't need an intervention, don't think, right, they've got to run out the whole 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Because that might actually just hold them back.
Yeah. It's all about being flexible, isn't it? And just working with the children as they come. So I know in your blog you talk about the importance of using really high quality texts. So how do you choose which text to use in your reading interventions?
So that's really hard. Like for me, I love reading. It is like the thing that I love, and the kids get to know that really quickly. But I think if you've got a reading spine, or anything of the likes in your school, using complementary texts to them that are maybe too young, which I hate as a phrase, get everywhere. Choosing graphic novels, really, really good for even looking at the fluency of it, looking at the expression of it, looking at the inferences. How do you know these characters cross? How do you know this character is a bit confused? Using illustrated novels. We're in a time where lots and lots of books are now illustrated because publishers realize actually long novels for even year 5s and 6s aren't going to hold their attention as much. So you probably find that, like, there's lots of resources out there that might help out there. Speaking with other members of staff in school, speaking with your English lead, speaking with your Senko, they might be able to point you in the right direction of resources that are really helpful. Don't be shy from using non-fiction as well. Everyone will just do fiction.
Yeah, that is
Use
true.
non-fiction. It's really, really important. So we were doing, I obviously teach in Newcastle. So one of our most recent topics was Newcastle Through Time.
Okay.
And I just went and got brochures from, like, the museums around here, and we use that.
Nice.
It is very, like, it's authentic.
Yeah, I love that because they're real life examples. Children see that out and about, don't they? So it's not a random thing printed off the internet. Do you ever use poetry out of interest?
Yeah, so we try and do, so across, say, like a 6-week reading intervention, there'll be 6 different texts. One of them will always be a poem.
Yeah.
Whether it's a poem that's really easy, whether it's a poem that's a little bit more difficult, but we try and do 3 fictions, 2 non-fictions, and a poem, because we all know that a poem's going to be thrown in there occasionally, and it's not going to be very nice.
Nice. And when you do fiction, do you stick to whole text where possible, or do you use extracts sometimes?
For reading interventions specifically, extracts are your best friend. It might be a chapter, it might be 2 chapters, but there is something that we know is high quality, we know is appropriately aged, or you've aged down because you know that that maybe the children don't have the fluency, but we know that's high quality. And it's a chapter. These children will become really familiar with this chapter if you read it for 5 days, if you read it for 3 days, however many days you've got scheduled in a week. I think 3 is like optimum. It's not every day. And then if your TA is gone for a day or whatever, you still got a bit of wiggle room, because we're realistic as teachers, and we know it can't be 5 days a week, and it shouldn't be 5 days a week. If it's taken away from the quality first teaching that's happening in the classroom, and it's not going to be quality first comparable to what's in the classroom, leave them in the classroom. But yeah, excerpts are my favorite, using just chapters. And you might find, if you've got 6 kids in your school, 6 kids in your group, sorry, using the F5 text, they might have 6 copies of the book. And then it's a gateway into, I've read that first chapter. Then I might do a bit of reading for pleasure as well.
Yeah, that's quite nice because I suppose it lifts the cognitive overload of like trying to understand it and trying to read it. So I like that. I hadn't thought about that before. So obviously as teachers, you know, we're changing our practice all the time. Every time we read something new or see something new on socials. Is there anything in the last year or so you'd say that you've changed in your practice when delivering reading interventions for the better?
So for me, I was in that boat of like every day it has to be something different. Every
Yeah.
day it has to be a different text. They're going to
Yeah.
learn something new. And I, this year in particular, went to that place of they have to be able to read it first.
Mm-hmm.
Day one is always just read it.
Yeah.
Read it multiple times. Then day two, introduce some form of comprehension, some form of retrieval, some form of do they understand what they are reading? Ooh, can you find a word that shows me this? Can you find a word that shows me that? So they've read it now twice, or like 3 times or 4 times, however many times they've read it. And then by day 3, you can really dig into that, like, right, well, how do we know, or why is the author doing this? And as a year 6 teacher, I found that's a model that works. And our year 5s are going to trial it in autumn so that I've got a bit of a pilot. So then year 4 and 3, and then maybe even the year 2s who've got really secure phonics.
Yeah.
But moving to that 3-day model with the same text.
Okay.
Just like, I don't know why I never thought of it before, but it like
Oh, it feels pressure, doesn't it, all the time? You just constantly have to move on, move on, move on. But from what I've read as well, the research shows just repeating, like reading, rereading, overreading, I think they might call it, is
yeah, it is. Yeah.
if you could give a teacher one piece of advice about starting reading interventions, what would it be?
Oh, that's a hard question because I've got about 500.
Just one, I'm afraid.
I think don't teach the skills and the reading domains separately. I think vocabulary comes hand in hand with inference, comes hand in hand with retrieval. Yes, some skills are more basic, if you want to put it that way. Like retrieval is a more simple skill than inference and prediction. But they need to all be linked together. If you can't retrieve, then you can't summarize. If you can't summarize, then you can't predict.
Yeah.
And I think as teachers, maybe historically, it's been right on Monday, we're going to just do retrieval. Tuesday, we'll look at the vocab. We can't retrieve something if you don't know what it means.
Yeah.
So making sure that in your sessions, there is opportunities for all of it. And little bonus tip, summarizing is one of the key skills that we don't do enough of.
I think I love that you've teased that because you talk about this more in your blog, don't you? Yeah. So Steph has written a lot about Key Stage 2 reading interventions in her blog. So if you want to read more about that, then please do, because it's packed full of information. But thank you so much, Steph, for chatting. It was lovely to meet you.
Thank you very much.